please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hello and welcome to Business Saturday. I'm Manisha Jain. Let's take a look at the top headlines at this hour then. BJP is no longer an outlier in the Northeast, shuns its North Indian tag after a 25-year regime. Left bastion of Tripura is all set to be toppled by the Saffron surge. BJP also takes a slender lead in Nagaland, while in Meghalaya, the Congress is leading. CNBC TV18 accesses Form 483 issued to Aurobindo Pharma's Unit 4. The company gets 9 observations from the US FDA. US stocks closed well off session lows on Friday, held by a sharp rise in healthcare shares, but the major indices posted a weekly loss for the first time in 3 weeks. Well, first up, let's take a look at the top headlines coming in from the political scene. In fact, we have seen the wild swings. Okay, let's talk about the US markets first then. The US markets actually closed off the session's lows. Remember, there was a tariff policy that was announced by the Trump administration that led to a fall in the shares. There was a lot of volatility when you look at the US markets, given the fact that the investors were concerned that there might be a trade war which gets spiked. In fact, the major indices posted a weekly loss for the first time in 3 weeks. I'm sorry? Okay, so in fact, let's hear a report on that note.
U.S. markets rebounding from a major sell-off early to finish the day mixed. The Dow down 70 points, though it was off by nearly 400 points in early trading. The S&P up 13 and the Nasdaq higher by 77. Manufacturing stocks dipping again on Friday following President Trump's new tariff plan imposing a 25% tax on steel and a 10% tax on aluminum imports. U.S. Commerce Secretary telling CNBC that the president's tariffs are, quote, no big deal. Adding tariffs will have a broad but trivial impact on prices. The news of tariffs sent markets into a tailspin as investors worry about the U.S. entering a trade war. Consumer sentiment inching down at the end of February. Despite the drop, though, the index is still at the second highest level since 2004. The survey measures attitudes about future economic prospects. McDonald's stock fell $7. Close to its largest one-day point drop ever. That comes thanks to a downgrade from RBC, which cut expectations after a slow start to McDonald's new value meal. That's the action from the U.S. market. Now back to you in Mumbai.
Okay, and steel producers and automakers in Europe and Asia declined sharply on Friday after US President Donald Trump said that the US will impose tariffs of 25% for steel and 10% for aluminium. It also raised concern that other countries may implement retaliatory tariffs on US exports. Well, here is a word from former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan on the growing concerns of the bond market.
I think that's the main problem that we have with disregarding that the real problem is not monetary policy. That's going to run itself, and the Fed is fairly sophisticated in all the increments involved, and especially the new chairman. But what it isn't the case is the longer-term outlook for the budget deficit, which is downright scary. And budget deficits inevitably engender some introduction of an acceleration of money supply and price level expand. In other words, inflation is going to enter into the stagnation. I would say we are in a bond market bubble. And a bond market bubble merely means that prices are too high. And when they move down, long-term interest rates move up.
Okay, on to an exclusive then. CNBC TV18 accesses Form 483 issued to Aurobindo Pharma's Unit 4. US FDA issues 9 observations to Aurobindo Unit 4. We have Ekta Batra joining us with more details. Ekta, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on getting this Form 483. But does it look like bad news for Aurobindo Pharma?
Hi, thanks for that. Well, actually, it does seem to be a concern for Aurobindo Pharmaceuticals. We already knew that they had received observations. We did not know the number of observations that they had received. So now with the Form 483 for the Unit 4, we know that they've received 9 observations in total. While the number seems large, most of the analysts who've gone through it have said that it will probably take a little bit of time for them to resolve these issues. If they can resolve some issues, such as, say, observation number 2, which is basically equipment cleaning and handling, successfully, that will, probably help in terms of evading any sort of further escalation of that particular Form 483. So that is something that we need to watch out for. I expect the stock to probably be, pressured because of this particular piece of news, because while it is expected to probably see the light of day eventually, there are still 9 observations that they're talking about for an injectables plant, and something which would probably take some more time to resolve.
Okay, thank you, Ekta, for that. So clearly, Aurobindo Pharma, one of the stocks to watch out on Monday morning. But let's get you the latest on the political front now. BJP is spreading its mark in the northeastern states of the country. CNN News 18 Maria Shakil joins us from the BJP headquarters with the live updates. Maria, thank you so much for joining us. How do you read this, and what is the feel like in the BJP headquarters?
It's a massive victory for the party. Let's not forget that Tripura has been a left bastion. Manik Sarkar, one of the longest-serving chief ministers, and it was an ideological battle for the BJP. BJP president himself quite literally leading from the front. For the last 3 years, he has been in and out of the state, ensuring that a cadre-based party can only be tackled with a cadre-based organization that the BJP built quite literally in the last 3 years. And hence this victory that has come, and it's an emphatic victory. The BJP is looking at somewhere around 40 out of 6 in an assembly of 59, so which is like a huge victory for the party. And this is certainly a huge, moral booster for the party, which is also looking at making inroads, particularly in the state of Kerala. The BJP president and other senior leaders of the party had carried out yatra in the state of Kerala as well. If you would remember, that happened in the last few months of 2017. Having said that, I think the focus now is on how the BJP will be forming governments in the other 2 states that went to polls. That is Nagaland and in Meghalaya. As far as Nagaland is concerned, the pre-poll alliance that the BJP had, that group is way past the halfway mark, so they are heading to form the government. But it is in the state of Meghalaya where the real game would be played now, because we are seeing some kind of nimble foot movement also on the part of the Congress, where its top leaders, including Ahmed Patel, Kamal Nath and other leaders, have rushed to the state of Meghalaya to ensure that when what played out in Goa and in Arunachal Pradesh doesn't get repeated in Meghalaya. So we are seeing that play out. Also, this is a strong signal that has gone from the party that they can really, ensure that their narrative of an alternate or for change can work in multiple states in the northeast. So clearly, 2 states, one by the BJP, and they are trying to really cobble up numbers of all non-Congress parties to form the government, even in the state of Meghalaya, where they are well, short of the halfway mark. But there again, they are confident that they will be able to form the government. So far, sources in the party are saying that it's Biplav Dev, who is the state president of the BJP in Tripura. He's likely to be the chief minister of the state. Over here at the new swanky BJP office, the celebrations are yet to begin, because BJP President Amit Shah is likely to come somewhere in the afternoon, and there'll be a press conference. The Prime Minister also is likely to come sometime, and then we can see some movement on that front. And there'll be a BJP parliamentary board, as we have seen, which is held just before every, after every victory in every state.
Okay, thank you, Maria, for that. So clearly, BJP taking the northeastern states by storm as well. In fact, on that note, let's listen to Ram Madhav, the National General Secretary of the BJP, who leads the victory march.
हमारे पार्टी का पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड आज शाम को मिलेगी। पूरे डिटेल्ड रिजल्ट्स के डिटेल्स लेकर पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड आगे की जो आगे का जो कार्य है उसके बारे में हमको मार्गदर्शन करेगी। पार्लियामेंट्री बोर्ड इज मीटिंग टुडे इवनिंग। अध्यक्षी से हुई है। प्रधानमंत्री जी आज वियतनाम के राष्ट्रपति दिल्ली में है, प्रधानमंत्री जी उसमें थोड़ा व्यस्त है। अध्यक्ष जी और बाकी सभी नेताओं का हमारे ऊपर और विप्लव जी के ऊपर फोन आया, सबका बधाई।
Well, 2 weeks after the mega 12,700 crore rupee fraud came to light at Punjab National Bank, there has been a rapid development in the case. In fact, the cabinet paved the way for the introduction of the Fugitive Economic Offenders Bill to be introduced in the second leg of the budget session. Remember, the new bill aims to avoid willful defaulters like Vijay Mallya and alleged fraudsters like Nirav Modi from fleeing the country. The draft bill provides for confiscation of assets in cases without conviction where economic offenders have fled the country without paying the lender. The provisions of the bill will apply to individuals who have defaulted on loans over 100 crore rupees and against whom an arrest warrant has been issued.
We will try and make sure that this is passed as expeditiously as possible, because we can't allow people to make a mockery of the law, that you first indulge in loot and then refuse to submit to the jurisdiction of our legal system. And I think we have a very responsible parliament. It can't come to the aid of such people. It will certainly be doing something which is hostile to the interest of these people.
This bill does not aim at getting the fugitive back with the cooperation. That's the extradition part.
Yeah, but the confiscation of his properties abroad.
The way this bill works is that if you confiscate his property in India and abroad, then there are good chances that the fugitive will come back to India. Least, if you can't get that person here, then get his property. So that is what this bill seeks to achieve, and it will definitely put pressure and force the fugitive to come.
Okay, the cabinet also gave its nod to the draft rules to establish a new authority to oversee the auditing and accounting standards. The National Financial Reporting Authority will be the new mechanism to strengthen the financial system where loopholes have allowed for massive frauds to go unnoticed. The NFRA will be headed by a chairman and will comprise of up to 15 members. It will cover all listed companies and large unlisted ones as well. The rules for the NFRA will be notified soon and will detail the jurisdiction the NFRA will have over large unlisted companies. The auditing of other smaller companies will continue to be the responsibility of the ICAI or the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India.
NAFRA is not intended to replace the disciplinary jurisdiction of Institute of Chartered Accountants. That is not the intention.
Yes, madam.
Therefore, for all the regular routine cases, which will be bulk of the cases with regard to smaller businesses, I think the Institute of Chartered Accountants will continue to perform its function.
See, now after the cabinet approval, we will be in a position to commence this section 132,
right, sir.
Which speaks about establishment of NAFRA.
Right.
So the National Financial Reporting Authority will come into force as soon as the notification is issued and the underlying rules are notified,
right,
which should take about a fortnight.
Right. One thing which was curious for us was that A, listed companies will be covered, and B, unlisted companies, there will be a threshold. Now, how does NFRA then get into an investigation, or how does NFRA then start investigating these companies? What will be the trigger?
You see, even now under the ICAI, under the Chartered Accountant Act, you have a quality review board.
Right.
They precisely do this same activity of looking at the quality of financial reporting of firms. So when NAFRA is constituted and it has this constituency of listed companies and large unlisted companies, it can, through some sort of random sampling or some other method, decide which companies' balance sheets and financial statements it wishes to review.
Okay, and ArcelorMittal signs a JV formation agreement with Nippon Steel and Sumitomo Metal Corporation in relation to its offer to acquire Essar Steel India. Remember, the company's subsidiary ArcelorMittal Limited Private Limited submitted a resolution plan for Essar on 12th February, which outlined the intention to have NSSMC formally join its bid for Essar Steel. Now, should the submitted resolution plan be selected and formally accepted by India's National Company Law Tribunal, ArcelorMittal and NSSMC would jointly acquire and manage Essar Steel. In its resolution plan, AMIPL set out a detailed industrial and turnaround plan aimed at restoring Essar Steel's fortunes, enabling it to realize its full potential and participate in the anticipated steel demand growth in India. Well, the face-off between southern film producers and cinema distribution companies does not look close to an end. With digital distribution companies demanding steep virtual print fees, a majority of southern producer councils have decided to stop releasing regional films for an indefinite period. Jude Sanet joins us with the latest. June, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, what is the latest development in this case?
Well, what we do know for now, Anisha, is the fact that we are likely to see at least a week to 10 days of a face-off wherein you will not have any new South Indian film releases across the 5 major states of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. This is largely because there is, of course, a major discord between producers, film producers on one hand, and film distribution companies on another with regard to payment of a virtual print fee, which is really the bone of contention. As of now, most mainstream South Indian films pay close to 22,500 rupees per screen, per film, which works out to several lakhs of rupees when you look at the big picture in terms of at least 100 screens. The point really is the fact that the film distribution companies are saying that as it stands today, 22,500 rupees is itself a major subsidy, considering that Hollywood films pay close to $850. However, on the other hand, film distributors and producers rather are saying that as far as digital cinema is concerned, it should not quite be this expensive. So this face-off over disagreement with regard to this fee has meant that we are seeing an extended period of no film releases, at least until these issues are sorted out. Anisha.
Okay, thank you, Jude, for that. So looks like the movie buffs in southern India will have to wait for 10 to 15 days before hitting the theatres again. But moving on to the aviation space now, where sources tell CNBC TV18 that the aviation ministry has prepared a draft expression of interest for the Air India stake sale. A group of ministers will meet next week to finalize the contours of this expression of interest. Ashpreet Sethi joins us with more details. Ashpreet, good afternoon. What are you picking up?
The Aviation Ministry is giving its final touches to the expression of interest as far as Air India stake sale is concerned. We pick up from sources that as far as the draft is concerned, there are certain contours which have already been decided, which will be placed before the alternate mechanism or the group of ministers, which is being led by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Now, what we pick up is that there are 3-4 important aspects that have been covered by the Aviation Ministry in the draft expression of interest. First being, as far as employees are concerned, certain measures have to be kept in place to ensure that their interests are kept intact. In fact, the second point here being that as far as offloading of government stake is concerned, whether it will be beyond 51% or between 51% to 100% is what certain options have been recommended by the Aviation Ministry. The third aspect being that as far as the whole saga of who will take over the debt, that is also something that the expression of interest will be taken care of. Now, what we have picked up from sources is that March 1st week was the deadline that they were looking at putting this expression of interest in public domain. However, next week itself, the alternate mechanism will be meeting where ministers will be discussing what will be the final contours of Air India stake sale. We'll have to wait and see what happens next, because remember, Indigo and a foreign airline has in fact shown interest as far as Air India is concerned. No other player has come officially on board as far as Air India goes. So we'll have to wait and see whether by March the government will be able to put the expression of interest in public domain.
Okay, thank you, Ashpreet, for that. But moving on to a Network 18 exclusive interview, India's former cricket captain Sourav Ganguly talks about Virat Kohli and Mahendra Singh Dhoni's captaincy. Says while Kohli is expressive, Dhoni is calm, but different captains have different ways of handling stress. He says that the country's cricket team is fortunate to have them both.
What is the difference that you see in Kohli's captaincy and Dhoni's captaincy with respect to yours?
I think two different personalities. Kohli is very expressive.
And so are you.
I was, yes. Kohli's taken it probably one step further. I need to ask him that who does he show the fist every time a wicket falls? I have to find that out from him. Dhoni was calm. That doesn't take the nervousness and pressure away from anyone. For Virat Kohli, that was his way of taking pressure out. For me, it was. For Dhoni, it was to absorb. So different captains are different, and And I think India is fortunate enough to have Dhoni and Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is in the form of his life, I think. You know, the way he's played, the best player in the world at the moment. And when I see Virat on the field, obviously you don't get to see him that much. Meet with him closely because they're traveling all the time and you get to see them on and off. I see a lot of honesty, and it's you get what you see. There's everything is there, and plus he's a class player.
Yeah.
So I think I've got tremendous regard for him and tremendous faith in him that he's actually going to take Indian cricket to the next level.
Okay, with that, it is curtains down on Business Saturday from the team and myself. Thank you so much for watching.